If you want to hit a ground stroke that's difficult to attack, there's lots of factors that go into it. And I'm going to be honest with you, they're all very important. So you have the speed of your shot, the spin on your shot, the depth on your shot, the height or lack of height, and then the direction of the ball. And they all have a value. But today I'm going to share why I think depth is far and away the most important aspect of your ground stroke. And if you get good depth, it's very difficult to get attacked. So real quickly, I'm going to demonstrate with two feeds why I think depth is the singular most important aspect of your ground stroke. If I were to give you this feed right here, do you think you could attack that ball? My guess is you're at home saying, of course. Now I'm going to ask you to describe that ball. So if you got a good tennis IQ, you could probably tell me it was high, it was flat, it was slow, it was through the middle, and it was short. All 5 things that are probably not great qualities, okay? Now I want you to tell me if you can attack this ball. Okay? My guess is you're gonna say you couldn't. And if you were to describe that ball, you would say it was high, it was flat, it was slow, it was middle, but this time it was deep. And so now all of a sudden, it becomes a very difficult ball to attack. And if you apply deep to any negative characteristic with the ball, it makes it difficult to attack. So if you hit slow but deep, it's probably difficult to attack. If you hit low or high and deep, it's difficult to attack. And vice versa. If you have great topspin on your ball, but it's short, a 4-5 or a 5-0 can definitely step up and run you around. So depth is far and away the most important element of your ground stroke. So how do we get more depth? I mean, that's the key. And the most important tip I have, and please do not rage quit and shut this video off when I tell you, is to aim deeper. And so I see this all the time with players, is they're hitting the ball on the service line over and over again, right? And they say, oh, I am aiming deeper. I'm trying. If I asked you to hit the back fence on the fly, okay, with a ground stroke, do you think you would still hit the service line? My guess is no. Now, of course, I don't actually want you to hit the back fence in a match, but you instinctively know how to aim deeper. And so my guess is if I told you to aim for the back fence, you'd probably hit 5-6 feet behind the baseline at first. And I would go, okay, well, you inherently know the steps it takes to aim deeper. So rule number 1, and what I would do for someone in practice, is I would try to hit the actual baseline. And so that's not an optimal target when we're actually playing points. But for practice and when you're trying to get more depth, this would be my target, which means half of my balls would land past it, half of my balls would land in front of it. And the reason why we do that is we want to get a feel for what elite depth is. And so we would be hitting all in this area, which would probably be a lot different than where I see most ground strokes, which are back here. And even if when we're doing this drill, we're hitting deeper than we want, we now have a feel and a reference point, and it's very easy to aim 4 feet shorter than the drill instead of getting stuck in the loop of hitting on the service line. So I'm going to show you some demonstrations of me and a player where we are actually aiming for the baseline so you can see what that shot pattern looks like and how we improve our depth. All right, so we're going to look at some videos of me and Logan hitting up the middle, and we're just both trying to hit the baseline. And you can see at first it takes a little bit of a feel. That ball was deep there. This one's about 2, maybe 3 feet deep. But then I start getting locked in on where that baseline is. And you can see now I'm basically within a yard of that baseline every time, or within a couple inches. And you're just giving yourself the freedom. Like, I've already missed a few balls deep, but everything is around that baseline. And here I eventually hit it and force the error. And so she and I were just playing a game to see who could actually hit the line first. You can see her depth is also great. She's using good height. She's hitting on her front foot. She's very close. And look where our balls are landing. I mean, everything is in that back third. And so this is just a really good drill. If you're not afraid of missing deep, it's going to help you with your depth tremendously. Right here, she finally gets the baseline. And so we tie 1-1, which was disappointing for me. Tip number 2 to getting the ball deeper is simply to get your body weight behind the ball. So when I'm on the baseline, we talked about this on my last video, I'm about 4 or 5 feet behind the baseline, but I want one-way traffic where I'm stepping in every single time. If I was trying to punch someone, I wouldn't punch them like this. I would step in, and getting your body weight behind any shot is crucial, not only for hitting depth, but hitting good quality spin, good pace, anything like that. We are trying to get our body weight behind the ball. And so I want you to watch some of these demos from the side where I'm hitting, and you can see that because I have space behind the baseline, I always have my body weight behind the ball, which makes hitting depth a lot easier. So I said it would be me, but I thought you'd prefer to watch Logan hit. But you can see she's a couple feet behind the baseline, about 5 or 6 feet, and it's just one-way traffic. She's hitting on her front foot every time and then recovering back to that spot. She might move forward for a ball here or there that's short. Hopefully I'm not giving her too many short balls in our depth demo. But you can see it's just simple. She's up to the ball, then she takes a step back. Up to the next ball, always on the front foot, always getting her full body weight behind the ball. It's just so much easier to hit with pace, hit with good depth, hit with good spin. It's a great habit, and you can see how she has to recover right there after the short ball. So just make sure you're getting your body weight behind everything. It makes things so much simpler. And tip number 3 is to understand what gives us depth. So it's a mixture of the height and the speed that we choose to use. So if we hit low, we're going to have to hit incredibly fast to get that ball deep in the court. And that's a very, very risky shot. Obviously, the net is in play, and the faster we hit, the less consistent we are. If we hit high, even if we hit slow, you know, that ball's still getting almost to the service line. So our height is a big factor. We probably want to be playing medium speed. So for me, I like aiming about 3 feet over the net with medium speed, and it's pretty difficult to hit the ball shorter than 3/4 court. And so some people will say that's moonballing because it's 3 feet, which is an absolute joke, but that's a good reference point. If I hit 3 feet with a nice medium speed, I'm gonna be deeper in the court. I'm not gonna be able to attack, and then someone could give me short balls where I can step up and play some offense. So I'm gonna give you a court level view of me hitting now so you can see the height that I'm using, and I'll kind of talk you through how deep my shots are going. So again, I thought I would use Logan as the demo and not myself. But you can see when she hits low over the net right there, I mean, that's middle of the service box. I had to like reach up there to get it. And so in the beginning, her height is not great. It's probably only 1.5 or 2 feet over the net. And you can see a lot of these balls are in the service box or on the service line. Right there, we get a little better height, and you can see it gets a little deeper to begin with. That's excellent height. And by the way, that's probably only 5 feet over the net, which again is not a moonball. People seem to think that if you play with great height, that's somehow a moonball and you're supposed to be skimming the net. People do not like when high balls come to you. And so you can see as we're hitting, her height is getting better and better. Now she probably is in that 3 to 4 foot range. And again, going back to some of the concepts from my old videos, you don't hit the ball where you aim. So if she's aiming 3 feet over the net, sometimes she'll accidentally hit a touch higher, like that one right there. And sometimes she'll end up hitting a little bit lower. But the reference point in this video is that scoreboard to the right on the net post. That's about 3 feet over the net. And so right there, when she crosses it, it's never going to land in the service box. And sometimes like that, it's going to be 3/4 court or on the baseline. So just a nice reference point for you guys, 3 feet over the net, medium speed, and it's almost impossible to hit in the service line if you do that. So hopefully I've done a good job of convincing you that depth is the most important element of your ground stroke. And if I have, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. It's a way for you to say thank you for these free lessons. But before we go, I just want to make one point clear that this depth is a luxury. So if you are consistent and all your balls are still landing a little bit short in this range, it's not going to kill you at the 3.0, 3.5, and maybe even the 4.0 level. But if you want to make a jump beyond that, we've got to be getting about 50-60% of our ground strokes past this 3/4 line and deeper. So when we're in practice, just to recap, we want to be aiming for that baseline so we have a reference point. We want to get our weight behind the ball so we're stepping in every time, and we want to hit with height at a medium speed. If you can get your ball deeper, you won't get attacked, and your ground strokes will be very effective.